Hello everyone and welcome to Old World. We're back again once more with part 2 of Alcaras versus Blaj 2025 tournament match. This is an elimination match, so whomever loses this match will be eliminated from the tournament, while the winner will go on to fight for survival and claim their spot as a finalist in the tournament. All right. So we had a nice build-up session last time, if you weren't with us. We had some solid expansion out of Carthage, piloted by Alcaras. And hold on here, just getting myself set up. Yeah, so we started on this peninsula here. We expanded outward pretty quickly. We had a tribal basin down here on this other peninsula. And Alcaras did a good job of expanding. He's now completely turned 44. He is completely expanded on his side of the map. This is the center line. The central site is right here. So this side indicates Alcaras's, proverbial side of the map. He's got this island, and this was a bit of a snipe. Babylon came up here and took this central site, then hopped across the bay and cleared both of these sites pretty much simultaneously. And Alcaras did some tile buying to give himself a landfall. And Blaj just missed. He says it was a misclick, but he said he just missed the ability to block Carthage's route onto this island. So now Carthage has fully expanded. If we hop on over to Babylon, Babylon pretty much fully expanded on their side in terms of the open terrain, this northern starting peninsula into the center of the map. However, they are still left with this peninsula that has sent a nice bit of rage to them. So they'll have to solve this puzzle of kind of deciding if they want to expand this peninsula, settle it, while simultaneously keeping eyes on the Carthaginian front line. I'm going to go tell my friends in Discord we are live. And if you're joining us on YouTube after the fact, appreciate you being here. Give us a like. Give us a subscribe. Go around to all the YouTube content creators. And let them know. Show them your appreciation by giving them a like and subscribe as well. You got Fluffy Bunny, you got No Legs Kitten. They have their own channels. Alcaras, our tournament organizer. Of course, there's the Purple Bull Moose. And Jams, and many, many others. Now, let's take a look at some stats. We did a recap at the end of the last episode, but let's refresh our stats here. Military score obviously favors Carthage here because they're going to do mercenary buying. If we look at their setup here, they actually, I can look at the stat directly. They've only ever produced one military unit. Babylon, on the other hand, produced 10. Kind of out of necessity, really, because Carthage has the ability. Carthage is still stronger, right, by a decent amount, having not produced a single military unit. All of this is from Merc buying, and of course, he has had to upgrade his units. There is a new change where upgrading these units has cost money as well as trading, so that has helped drain the Carthaginian economy, but their gold economy has been very, very strong for the majority of the game. If we take a peek at that stat as well, we will see a very strong economy. Alcaras was able to get both players started with a similar courtier that brought in a lot of money. Alcaras also started with the loyal trait, and then he married his courtier, and the courtier also generated strong opinion. So he's basically been swimming in money for most of the game. And of course, let's not forget that Carthage gets 10 gold for every connected city as well. So they always have a little bit of a money advantage. Hello and welcome to the chat, Soren. Our fearless leader, Soren Johnson, is with us today. Thanks for being here. Yeah, I think this was a good build-up game. I think the first part was a nice build-up game. I think Blaj has been doing well enough to kind of keep pace. I think he's going to have a real conundrum down here with this peninsula situation. Hopefully Alcaras will give him some time to fully expand himself. Of course, if we check here, we can see that Alcaras will show that he's stronger. However, Alcaraz is naive, so that could worry him. That could give him pause in terms of deciding if he wants to aggress early against... Well, not early. If you turn 44, it's not necessarily early. We're stepping into the mid-game at this portion. The average duel, according to our statistics, has been about 75-ish turns long, with some going as late as 120 turns and some ending as early as turn 50 and 60. So that is just an average. But yeah, I'd say turn 44, turn 45 is solidly entering the mid-game. We're just exiting the early game. We're ending our expansion phase and starting to build up. One stat that we also need to be concerned about if we are Babylon is the worker disparity. Alcaraz has 20 workers to Blaj's 9. And what's interesting about this, when you think about that, right? Think about the build queues. Think about the fact that I just talked about how Alcaraz has not built a single military unit because he has nothing but mercenaries, right? Whereas Babylon built 10 military units. So if all of those 10 military units on Babylon were workers instead, would have about the exact same amount of workers as Alcaraz. But again, by necessity, we have to build those military units. Otherwise, you're going to deal with a Carthaginian tribal horde coming at you in short time. So that's always a bit of a puzzle and a conundrum to try to figure out how to keep pace with Carthage. And it's not necessarily that... The trick... The puzzle is that you don't know what Carthage is going to do, right? If Carthage decides to build up a massive tribal horde, which is what we have, and rush you, and you haven't built 10 units, well, then you're probably screwed. But then it could entirely be possible that it doesn't choose to do that, in which case, you know, maybe you can get away with playing greedier too. So I think it's less a question of the fact that Carthage is just going to outperform you. It's, again, I think we talked about this with Filthy on the first part. It's the idea that Carthage is significantly less punishing in my experience. You can get away with more. So like, it's less punishing in the sense that you can build less military units. It's less punishing in the sense that clearing is easier. You know, all these different things. So if you're facing Carthage, you just basically have to be on your game. You have to do more things right than you do wrong. Because Carthage can get away with doing more things wrong than they have to do right. That doesn't mean they win all the games. I think it's important to note, as much as we've seen the popularity of Carthage in this tournament so far, they've been picked about 14 to 16 times. Their win rate is floating right around 50%. It's like 58, 61, something like that. And, you know, so skill and patience and luck and all of those wonderful aspects that determine a game of Old World will come into play. I think I had a very good game as Carthage, but I still lost because my opponent played better than me, you know? So in that situation, you have arguably a strong player playing arguably a very strong nation. Oh, looks like we're disconnecting here. I'll see if we can hop back. It's right here. I did. I posted it in general. Sorry, I'm musing to myself. Alcaraz just did. Sorry, talking to myself again. Responding to Discord. Oh, okay, we are back. Great. All right, so let's look at where we are in the tech tree. Am I still on Babylon? I am still on Babylon. Great. So, we have... So, it says that Carthage is naive. Probably a good portion of that is going to come from the fact that monasticism has come for free. So that's the 400 cost tech that we have. We also have composite bow. Another 400 cost tech. So we have some pretty good, decent tech here. We've elected to do polytheism so we can spread some of our shrines around. That's not too bad. A little bit early for monotheism, so that's fine. We have navigation for orders. And we are building a ship, by the way. So Babylon looks to be the first nation with a navy. Yep, they will have the first ship in the water. So we'll see if that comes into play down the line, long term. Of course, Alcaras has vision in this region, so he will eventually become aware of that ship. In fact, he will see it hit the water. We all free African elephant coming online. So that's the steel grab for Carthage, turned 40 steel. We also saw him take the training boost, which does make sense for Carthage because you're going to need that extra training to upgrade all your mercs. And of course, we are relying on money now to upgrade our mercs. We have Jesus Christ, we have 500 gold per turn. Carthago is currently making 313 of that, but our queen... So this is our starting ruler, by the way. Look at this. 8 discipline. How amazing is that? 256 money per turn. Also 10 wisdom. We started with loyal. We got humble, which is great. Swift, because why not? You know, who doesn't love a swift ruler? And then just lots of fallback and level up traits here. We're actually only level 2, it looks like. So that's kind of amazing. Lots of events that can... give you more discipline. I would be curious. I'm going to take a peek here. I wonder if you got the die event. Doesn't look like it. The live and let die event. If you have high enough wisdom, you can actually get a science boost off of it. However, if you elect not to do that, you will always get 2 discipline from it. So I was wondering if maybe he got that. It doesn't look like that, though. I think Earl Grey Hot gives you discipline at some point. Or maybe that gives you, what is it, tea? Nope. Yep. I don't know. I'm just guessing at this point. Okay, so we have a free elephant coming online. We were making forums. Oh yeah, Blaj is commenting on the powerhouse of this leader. We were just making note of that. That's funny. Yeah, all sorts of things. You know, tribal clear events, and so that's another thing that comes kind of from the advantage of having easier clear time and the ability to just really ramp this up. Because let's not forget that every tribal site that you clear, not barbarian, but every tribal site that you clear is an event, right? So this was the free site, this was a barb, this was a barb, this was a barb, right? So I believe that's correct. Or maybe, yeah, these 3 were barbarians. So we had a tribe here, tribe here, tribe here, tribe there. So Babylon has gotten 4 tribal events. They're about to get 5. Right? Carthage, on the other hand, has gotten 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the same 5 that Babylon's going to get, but they've also gotten an extra 3. So there's some power to think about there. Tribal events can give you things like extra stats. They can give you things like extra courtiers, extra culture. What's something? Actually, a real fun one is extra units. A couple of free warriors tucked away in some tribal clear events. So if you're really trying to rush somebody or really trying to stake your claim across the map with something that can clear fast, like a military archetype, or I guess in this case Carthage, you could get yourself an extra warrior or 2, which could come in handy. That's always a nice grab. Yeah, so things like that. So that's another aspect about this. Not only are we not getting cities, territories, resources from this region, we're also not getting that kind of element of chance or luck that can play a factor in these games in terms of kind of increasing or maximizing your potential of getting the good things. I feel like the vast majority of tribal clear events are positive, and if not, they are trades. So I think, for example, one of the events that gives you a free courtier, you have to accept something like 80 discontent for it. And, you know, I would personally 80 discontent in 1 city, by the way. So it's like 80 or 120. And I personally take that trade any day of the week because I love accepting courtiers any chance I can get. So, you know, things like that. And that's one of the reasons why I also like to prioritize things like culture, because every culture level up is an event. And again, the vast majority of culture level up events are positive. So same type of thing. You'll get science boosts, civics boosts, courtiers, all these wonderful things. So we're going to get some culture in this city soon, which will be a more event. And those are the types of things that you look for: leveling up your characters, leveling up your leaders, running influence missions if you can afford it. Basically, anything that can trigger an event is kind of the way I conceptualize it, because I know some players aren't necessarily fond of the luck element. Blaj is feeling a little demoralized, it seems, by the fact that he has he's no slouch. He has 9 wisdom on his character, right? But he's only got the 1 discipline and no other stats. He has strict, warlike, educated. I believe he started educated. So, warlike and strict, not too bad. Actually, that's a pretty fantastic combo. And he has been building units, so they've been coming out with that XP. But then he looks across the bay or across the plains here, and he sees that his opponent, his adversary, has a whopping 7 more discipline as him. And of course, that can take the wind out of your sails. But anyway, the way I conceptualize it is kind of like its own deck of cards, right? I view the event deck in my mind. I'm a big board game player. I play board games constantly. It's one of my favorite things. And I also play very heavy, long, complex board games. One of my favorite games of all time is Twilight Imperium. And for context, Twilight Imperium has 1,500 cards associated with that game. They're not all from the same type of deck, mind you. But the level of variance and randomness or luck that would occur in a game of Twilight Imperium is quite high. And, I've played in Twilight Imperium tournaments before. So I don't mind randomness being in my competition. Of course, everybody has a threshold for what is or isn't appropriate. But anyway, my point is I tend to view things like tribal clears, level ups, culture level events, things like that. Anything that happens that a player can trigger, kind of like trying to draw from a deck of cards. It's like the more you can give yourself an extra draw, the more you can give yourself that slight edge of an extra stat or an extra courtier or an extra dump of resources or whatever that your opponent isn't getting, which is one of the reasons why, by the way, we have a nice volcano here. Love this art for that, by the way. Look at that. Let's do a nice pan over this right into the swamplands. This is like Moria. Not Moria, Mordor. This is the dead marshes right here. The single pass. Anyway, so that's why I think the Ishtar Gate, for example, is a particularly powerful wonder, because if you expand it rapidly like this, right, get yourself, what do we have, 12 cities? 12 cities, right? And then you Ishtar bomb that. Well, then you're going to get something like 8 to 9 culture level events, and then if you look across the way, you're going to see that your opponent, has maybe 9, 10, 11 cities, and they're not all leveled up yet. So you get a huge, huge payout. Again, it can be different each time, but sometimes you can get like a big lump of civics just from the Ishtar Gate alone, or bunches of training and things like that. And so I always try to make sure that I'm aware of the reliable way to generate events when I can control it. And I do factor that into my gameplay, to be totally honest. It's something I am sure to try and play around with. Of course, I've also been lucky enough to play an obscene amount of this game, and I kind of have an encyclopedic brain when I'm obsessed with something anyway. I used to play a lot of World of Warcraft, and I one of those people in the general chat of whatever zone I was in, where someone would be like, "Hey, where's Mankirk's wife?" or whatever. I would be able to pinpoint with exact accuracy wherever the person was looking for, because I played that game for 1.5 years before it came out. I was part of the beta for that, or the alpha. I think I was in the Friends and Family alpha of that, actually. But anyway, so the same type of deal. I just remembered everything. And so a little bit of that it spills over here to Old World, where I see event a couple times, and then I tend not to forget about it, especially if it's a really good one or a really bad one. All right, so with doing decrees, pretty solid civic production in this state seat. Not going to lie, that's 31 civics production. Really, really fond of that. That's basically going to be consistent consistent 2-turn decrees. In fact, every now and then we'll get a 1-turn decree, it looks like, because this is going to be quite a fair amount of spillover next turn. So next turn will be a 1-turn decree. That's just amazing. So good on Carthage. Did some more upgrading here, so we're level 5. Yep, 6. Let's see. I'll go back. I'll check it later. So yeah, that's definitely something we need to be worried about if we are Babylon. We did 2 Hunter cities back to back. I actually don't hate this at all. Now, if you wanted to be crazy with your micro, I've never done this, mind you, but I think it would be hilarious to try. So what I'm about to say is a little far-fetched. However, if you want to be crazy with your micro and waste the money and orders on this, in theory, you could swap every single one of these tiles except the urban, because you can't buy urban, right? into this city. That way, when Carthage tries to come and take this, if they succeed, it would be surrounded still by completely friendly hunter territory. And I mean, that's just the type of shenanigans I would love to see in a match someday. Or honestly, that's the type of shenanigans that would make me lose a match, because I would waste, what is this, like maybe 15 orders, and then easily call it, I don't know, 2,000, 3,000 gold. I would probably be the type of player who would waste my time doing that, but boy, it would be funny once it happened. Once my opponent took the city and I said, surprise, I still own everything. We have some archers coming out finally. We've settled Kish at last. We do have our illustrious camel archer. The really wonderful thing about saging into monasticism so early was it gave us a shot at a 4-turn camel archer, and boy was it worth it, because our opponent has primarily horse units, and even though that these are 6 strength units, we're still doing 8 to 9 damage, and the tiles I'm checking this damage from aren't even arid yet. So if we are on arid at some point, we'll do even more, probably closer to 11 or so, 10 or 11, which will be quite nice. And so this is going to be a real clutch unit that will keep us safe. It's only 1 unit, though, and this is a sizable force that's brewing on our border. We have an elephant with a general. We have another upgraded unit. So it does look like Alcaras is feeling comfortable to posture at least. And in response, we're seeing some warriors, slingers, slinger. And this is the issue that we're going to run into that we've been talking about as Babylon, is the fact that now we need to have our mindset fixated on this force in a way. We can't just leave 2 slingers here and expect to be fine. Of course, I mean, in theory, I suppose maybe there's a strategy where you can just cede territory while you're doing more important things. I'm sure. I'd be curious if we have any stats of players losing cities but then going on to win the game. I'm sure that must have happened at some point. But yeah, the conundrum is going to be down here, because Alcaras, if we hop back on over to Carthage, we have lots and lots of... This is just Quarry Central. We already have nearly 200 stone per turn, 130 food per turn. So compared to Babylon, who has the same amount of food and 100 stone, which, again, I care not stress this enough, the Flatland Quarry. Observe that we have not a single mountain in Babylon, right? Not a single mountain. All of our quarries are flatland quarries, and we are still making a very respectable 100 stone. So I know I say it in nearly every video, but for the love of God, don't wait 60 turns. It's 46 turns. Imagine if you were waiting till you expanded this peninsula to, you know, start putting down your quarries, or expand it down here. You can't wait for mountains to enter your territory. If they're nearby, great, cool, grab them. But even if they're just, even if this were your capital and your mountains are over here, I still put a couple of flatland quarries out in the first 30 turns or so while I'm trying to get my border over here. And I just can't emphasize that enough for all play styles, single player, multiplayer, duels, free-for-alls, whatever. Waiting 40 turns to get a quarry down makes no sense. Now, Alcaras has doubled his production, but the main reason he's doubled his production at this point is because now he has access to this just paradise quarry land. I mean, pretty much every tile here is a fantastic... Even these tiles right here are all arid tiles. You have double quarries over here. Yeah, I mean, this is just quarry central. So that's going to translate to an advantage due to the expansion that Carthage has succeeded at. But really, I just think 100 stone per turn is very respectable income, and so serious kudos to Blaj for identifying. He also identified this quarry band first. I believe Alcaras put a couple here as well, but this is actually a real big difference too. Alcaras followed the same logic, right? You know, put a couple quarries down quickly rather than delay. There's a couple right here. Solid. That's solid play. But if we... Is that showing accurately for me? Yeah, it's okay. But if we look over at Blaj, he full committed. You know, there was a point where we watched last session where he just, you know, this is 2, 4, 6, 8 quarries. That's amazing. You know, and then a few more down here. And this, I think, is the majority. That's all of their quarries. So just this amount of quarries. It's 10 quarries, all on flatland, all on arid. You just get a band like this. Anywhere in your empire you can fit it, doesn't matter where, and you're getting yourself 100 stone per turn. That's awesome. So yeah, that's my regularly scheduled rant on flatland quarries and not waiting for mountains to get your economy online. Stone now is better than stone later. Pretty much anything now is better than whatever it is later. We have some serious staging now from Alcaras. This is going to be a real problem for Blaj. Blaj needs to shore up some defenses here, and let's see. Alcaras has a nice scout deep back here. He has 3 scouts, which I love. One was free from the Riders family. He has 4 scouts. 5 scouts. Wow, some of those must have come from an event. I know there's at least one event that gives you 1 or 2 scouts. Well, there's more than one event, but I think there's one that gives you even 2 scouts. But I know there's several events that give you at least 1. Yes. Oh, what a fantastic match. Our tournament statistician, Becht, has said the only match with which a player lost a city and then went on to win the game was Oro versus Mojo. If you have not checked out that match, it's a long haul match. It's like a 7 or 8 parter, but man, is it a fantastic match. I highly recommend, if you can find part 5-ish, 4 or 5, watch that one. You should watch the last 2 sessions, and of course, you know, if you're not going to watch all of it, you know, definitely watch like part 4 or 5, and then watch like 7, I think 7 and 8. They're really, really good. They have some of the best battles in this entire tournament. In all honesty, I think have happened in that match. And that's the other thing about that. When I say battles, I mean battles plural. Our 2 players, Mojo and Oro, went at it several times in that match. There were at least 3 battles, I think as many as 5 different separate battles that ended with somebody retreating or, you know, surrendering the field or losing a city, as was just mentioned. And yet the game still kept going. It's one of the highlights of the tournament for sure. And yeah, so it is possible. It is possible to lose a city and then go on to win the game, as rare as it may be. So persistence, staying in the game, keeping your head in the game. Morale is always a factor. That's why I worry for Blaj a little bit, that he seems to be fixating on the stat differential between his ruler and his opponents. And this can always be something that drags your attention, right? You can tooltip. You can dig yourself in these tooltips and look at your opponent's heirs, right? So I can look... Even if I were Babylon, I can look at this princess and I can see who the heir is. And then also, you can look at somebody's spouse, right? So Alcaras would know that we have a scholar. And that's very valuable information, but you need to make sure that it doesn't shake you. Because what you can do, and I've had this happen to me in games, right? Like when Fluffy and I have played duels, oftentimes we use mirrored archetypes. So let's say we both start with, I don't know, a builder, right? Fine, fantastic. And then 5, 6, 7 turns go by, and we're now married, right? Fantastic, great. We both have a spouse. My spouse is some random person who just has, I don't know, it's a commander wife that I chose to accept, and they have some, discipline and courage. Great. And then I check over at my buddy's tooltip, and I find out he married the schemer courtier Sappho. That comes randomly from an event, but she's a very powerful character if you're not familiar with her. She's an eloquent, I believe, or intelligent, I think it's eloquent, schemer. She's a great governor, and she also, boosts your science by like 6 or 7 science per turn if you marry her. So, and the thing about, like, that's good information, but you can let that be like, oh, great, now my opponent has like an 8 science lead on me. And then you can let that get into your skin and tilt you a little bit. So reading your opponent's game state is valuable and is important. You need to adapt to it, of course. That's crucial. But you also need to make sure that you don't let it get under your skin and you don't let it tilt you. I've joked with Alcaras once or twice that because I've won a lot of games that, in my opinion, came from early surrenders. Games where, in fact, Alcaraz and I myself, literally, we played a game and I won. And then what we did was we reloaded the turn before he surrendered. And we played out another 25 to 30 turns because our post-game conversation was me being like, holy shit, dude, I don't think I would have won that long term. Now, I think we ultimately ended up deciding that I still would have won, but I really wasn't certain about it. So, and we kind of as a thought experiment, we were like, I asked him, and I said, would you mind will we keep playing this out and see how it goes? And he was very cool enough to oblige that request, and we played another 30 or 40 turns off of a game that he had already surrendered. And but in that conversation at that time when we were playing, I had joked with him about this idea that you don't technically need to win the game. You just need to beat your opponent, which are very different things. Oh no, our friend Fluffy is noting that one of these upgraded slingers apparently had, probably this one because it could have leveled up, had the Eagle Eye promotion. So if you're going to be upgrading your characters, your units, just keep in mind the promotions available to them. Very important. Things like, oh, did we get a free Maceman? Looks like we got a free Maceman. I think we must have gotten that mercenary event. That sounds about right. Oh yeah, we're looking good. Shockingly, Babylon is similar. That's wild. Good for Babylon. Still, look at this. Look at this. 1 military unit. All right, we're moving in. The Maceman's moving in, and that's going to be a dead archer. Can't emphasize this enough. So this must be also a mercenary axe or something, or maybe a tribal clear event. Cannot emphasize this enough. Alcaraz has built 1 unit. Babylon has built 13. And look at us. We are ready to go with... we have bonus cards from technology. This is our bonus unique unit. We have mercenaries. We have tribal clear event units. I am assuming... It's just, oh, Christ, that's insulting. I love it, but here we go. Battle! All right, this could be a swift session if Blaj lets his morale get to him. It might make sense to just see the... God, that's a lot of damage. Wow. All right, so let's look about how we're going to be able to deal with this. How many orders left on Carthage? 10? Yeah, Carthage is still going to do some Carthage stuff. What else do we have going on? The problem we have now, and Carthage is aware of it, this is great eyes from Alcaras here. He knows that the biggest threat is half health, and it can get into this fight, but it's far away. Another well-upgraded unit is weak. He knows that there's units over here. He sees this anchoring, I assume. Yep, he sees that this is the... If Alcaras couldn't infer it already, which he can based off city count, he can assume that this is definitive evidence that there's troops somewhere in this region aiming to clear this peninsula, which gives Alcaras an open field to engage, and he's capitalizing on it. No hesitation. Love to see it. Love to see it. Well played, I think, from our neighborhood-friendly Alcaras. Good job on you. Great. All right, let's just see. Blaj did lose a unit. We have lost an archer, so one loss. I think the correct play here is to just full retreat. Hop into Opus and consolidate your forces. I really don't think we want to try and take another kill. We could get another kill. But this Maceman here is just going to chunk anything in the region, and there's enough stuff where if you take a kill, you'll probably just trade the kill. So you do 1 or 2 kills, you get 1 or 2 kills in return, and then I'm pretty much sure everything in this region, maybe not? I don't know, that's the beefy archer in the woods. Maybe not. 7, 10, 14... 17, yeah, maybe not. I don't know. But I'm feeling, my gut feeling is because we have more units back here with a nice elephant with a route chain potential. My thinking is if you stay in this and try to take a kill or 2, you very, very likely lose everything in the city. The military score is actually closer than you might think. I mean, 820 to 595, so that's certainly a sizable gap. However, they are still rated as similar, which is another reason you need to be careful about relying too heavily on this power graph. Oh boy, now there is... Okay, so I think... Oh man, this is why I think this was bad. Because you're going to lose the city anyway, I think. You're going to lose at least one other unit when you lose the city. And the nightmare scenario is you lose... I don't know. Could Alcaras pull this off? Could Alcaras get the Acadian? I don't know. You don't want to lose the Acadian. But I was thinking, basically my thinking is you kind of seed the city, you get yourself into Opus, or maybe that puts you too far away from Shurupak. I don't know. This is a puzzle, man. We'll have to see what he does. Ooh, 2 turns away from a free chariot. I think this is actually a worthwhile grab in this situation. That is a very worthwhile grab for Blaj. And yeah, no, it does look like it's entirely possible for Alcaras to just go steaming through Babylon and full force. So we did take our 1 kill. So we are now running even. It looks like we're going for more, so we'll definitely trade a warrior. This warrior will go down. And then... Ooh, wow, we have a nice beefy slinger back here. Whoop! I don't know what just happened, but my monitor just stopped working, so hopefully you guys can still see everything, because I can't... Oh, there we are, we're back. That was weird. Okay, great. Oh, man, that was funny. Yeah, so let's not make the mistake of underestimating the Sentinel Slinger in the Hunter territory. I mean, this is an unpromoted Slinger. Look at this insanity. This is an unpromoted Slinger. If we hop back into these woods, it does 10 damage to another Slinger. What a nightmare. Sentinel is such a fantastic ability. I love... this is why it's my preference on a nation like Assyria. I honestly think Sentinel is the better frontline defensive family than Champions. Everyone's all like, oh, but, you know, that city defense. Who cares, man? I want to kill shit. I want to stop the city from even being taken or attacked in the first place, and nothing's going to do that better than a Sentinel Slinger or Archer. It's just so powerful. Can't believe that. This is 2 promotions on it. Well, I mean, I guess the Warden doesn't do anything. But yeah, crazy, man. That's 10 damage. We could All right, we have kill potential here, man. Can we make it? I'd love to get another kill. I think it might have been worth a force march. Or maybe we just stay in the woods. Maybe we don't want to expose ourselves too much. Maybe Alcaras will get a little timid off of this. We're 1-1 now. The Battle of the Tylos Strait. Very cool. Very cool. This is what we're here for, everybody. Nearly 20 of you in chat. Okay, we did get up, and so that's 2 kills for the Babylonians this time. This turn. Solid. Unfortunately, we did have to step outside of our hunter territory, but that is a zealot. Zealots are a fantastic general, always tricky to kill. Oh, we got a second kill. Great. Now, that unfortunately opens us up to a route chain. But, I mean, the zealot will stop the route chain, I suppose. Or at the very least, if not stop it, I mean, it's just annoying. You have to waste a full attack to route through it. So, okay. 3 kills. 3 kills. Alcaraz charges in, gets 1 kill, does half damage to the city. Blaj returns fire with 3 kills with his defensive army of slingers and archers. And it looks like, yes, the schemer bought the orders. Good catch on that from chat. Thanks for being with us. There's 20 of you in the chat. And, of course, Fluffy Bunny, Soren, and Mojo, Becht, all of you. Thanks for being here. Yeah, I mean, that's a good response. I have to say, you know, it was looking pretty harrowing at first. And as always, I'm like, oh, no, maybe you should retreat. And I think this is a very solid response. It's definitely a different situation when you're in the driver's seat and you have a sense of, like, you can really look at what you're doing and get a sense of being, like, in that headspace. We do, of course, have perfect information as the observer, which, again, can be a blessing or a curse, right? Because you can kind of misjudge a situation. We'll have to see how Alcaraz responds here. He definitely has the ability to secure some kills. Can he do so without getting punished? Again, is the question. But for Babylon long term, we still have to run the issue of the fact that we're now currently forced to defend ourselves while we want to clear this city. And, oh, God, again, we're getting raided again. Great. Fantastic. And there's a raid up here, too, by the way. So that's why clearing is essential. And Carthage is annoying. All right, so really, really great response from Blaj. Let's not forget that Blaj is actually here off of another surprising win. In his previous match, he was engaged upon early, and I believe the session ended at a certain point with the general consensus feeling like, oh, you know, maybe Blaj is down for the count, and or at least maybe it was looking that way. And then by the time the session ended, or by the start of the next session, he comes back full swing with a very decisive counterattack and manages to win the day. So we'll see if he can pull off something fun here. We do have our Stompy Boy coming in with the stomp. Stomp, stomp, stomp. Yes! Love it. Who doesn't love an elephant? We need more elephants. That's what we need. We need nothing but more stomp. We need a stompy brigade. And, yeah. Okay, so we're going to have to waste some attacks, but we will be going for the next route. Here we go. Come in. Come in. Stomp, stomp, stomp. I just love the way they lumber around, man. They're just such a great unit. Certainly wins in terms of cool factor, right? So that's 2 kills now. We have 21 orders left. Oh, order discrepancy, by the way. 42 orders in Carthage compared to... hop over to Babylon real quick. 27. Ugh, yuck. Of course, we are running 2-turn decrees, so that's going to add to that. It looks like a decree was just finished, by the way. So, all right. So we brought the city down. Do we have kill potential? We have kill potential? We certainly have orders. Do we have... All right. Our Stompy Boy pushed our Slinger away. We've taken 2 kills so far. Okay. And we have a really weak archer, but no secure of the territory. We're really hoping to secure that territory with Carthage. And the reason for that is that would weaken all of the hunter units in this region by 20%. Well, actually by 30%, really, because they're also any hunter in this territory is going to get an extra 10% for being in friendly family territory. So, yeah, knocking down city territory of a hunter bastion is a really good idea because it can really weaken your opponent's defense capabilities. We only have 2 hunters, 2 sentinel units in the region, though. So, yeah, this is pretty solid counter response from Alcaras here, I think. Going to go all in with this aggression. I do wonder if killing the elephant is on the table. I don't know. That slinger being where it is looks like probably not. Turn 45, by the way. Turn 49 now, but basically Alcaras was ready to go around turn 45. So that type of a thing, that's the type of thing that you need, that's the type of timing you need to think of, which is what, again, what makes the game complex. And that's what makes the push and pull between trying to play greedy, right, versus trying to play aggressive. Because if you play aggressive and your opponent plays greedy, but you don't leverage your aggression and go on to win, well, then you can actually lose because your opponent's greed could carry it through in terms of endgame momentum, right? If you play... Well, I guess that pretty much summed it up, right? If you're playing greedy and your opponent plays greedy, well, then it's just a test of, you know, whoever basically builds an empire better, I suppose. And if you're both playing aggressive, well, then it's just a fun time. We call that a knife fight. And personally, I tend to love a knife fight. But it's not even that I like a knife fight. It's more that I like when the game puts you in the position of needing to flex all of its systems. And I think early conflict forces that, because you can't just run through the tech tree and get all the greedy stuff and, you know, not get a level 5, a strength 5 unit for 40 or 50 turns, because if you don't, then you'll just die. So I like playing multiplayer has given me a real strong appreciation for the tech tree, because in single player, for example, I never take steel. I never take this technology. I never use Axemen. The only time I take steel is when I'm ready to leapfrog all the way to cohorts. So I have manor, I have, you know, hydraulics, monasticism, whatever, citizenship. I have all, portcullis even. Sometimes I don't even get portcullis, but I have all of this stuff before I ever tech steel, because I don't need it. But if you do that in a head-to-head duel format, oh boy, steel has come in quite clutch in some of these matches, and it can be game-defining. So I've grown a greater appreciation for the diversity of the tech tree and the different layers of the tech path, because it's a different game when you're playing against a human. It's a different puzzle. All right, so it looks like Blaj is interested in trying to hold the line here. Again, I'm still inclined to think that maybe... Wow, the camel only does 3 damage to the elephant in scrub. That's unfortunate. Oh, because it's anti-horse, right? It is. It's anti-horse, not anti-mounted. That's a bummer. Still, 9 damage to all this other shit. That's solid. Can definitely come in as a secure kill, but gonna want to not immediately have it get killed itself. 19 orders left. He's still thinking. He is going for an attack here. He will secure a kill. Honestly, I would back this up one more tile. This, because he's in range of being killed. You could have backed up one more tile and there's a scrub, but that's all right. No worries there. I wonder if it would be interesting to flank. Create some order distraction back here. Whoa, that's a nice, healthy chunk of damage there. Holy shit. Whoa, man, we could have killed this thing. We actually could have killed that. Holy shit. I didn't realize that would have done 7 damage. I missed this one. Why? Oh, it has Ranger and Horsebane. That is awesome. And Shield Bearer for these assholes. Sorry, forgive me. The Elite Libyans. That's great. Look, they only do 2. This is a 6 strength unit right here. And it only does 2 damage to the Slinger. That's solid, man. That's really great promotions on this guy. Too bad it might die next turn. Yeah, yeah, that thing's toast. Oh, that's unfortunate. That thing is toast. 9 damage from a Maceman. Alrighty. Becht, we're going to have a really funny stat for this game, because I'm pretty sure Alcaras has now built 2 units. If Alcaras wins, it's going to be like military victory on turn 55. How many units did you build? 2. Great. Everything's fine. Oh, Carthage, man. What the hell? You know what? And I'm just going to let him. If I go up against Alcaras, because we are on track to face each other if I win my next 2 matches, I think. Or maybe just 1. I can't remember. No way. You went for that? Is nothing... Dude, bro, you could have killed the elephant. Oh, no, we don't have the training. Yeah, no, yeah, we do. Oh, no, we could have killed the elephant. I really think we should have. We could have come here in this scrub as well. So this guy on the arid, which would... No! Did he misclick? He misclicked. He misclicked. Oh, no, he misclicked. That is devastating. Oh, that's devastating. No. Oh, he got it. He got it. You have it. He just got a promotion. Yes! Oh, yes, Blaj! Hell yeah, buddy. Nice recovery. That's awesome. Thanks for the tension. Holy shit. Great. We did it. Down goes the Stompy Boy. Look, the headless Stompy Boy in the bushes. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. I'm rooting for you, man. You can do this. End the Carthaginian stomping. Yeah. So yeah, no, someone confirmed in chat, I think, yeah, if I win my if Alcaras wins this and I win my next match, I think I go up against Alcaras. And yeah, I'm just going to let him play Carthage. Because, I mean, honestly, I don't play a lot of Carthage. Oh, hey, good call out from Aaron. We've gotten developing culture from Duratha, thanks to Epics. Epics pulling in some weight there, so we got a culture level up for that. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to track what it was because I was paying attention to the action there, but that's really nice. And so that kind of goes back to what I was saying about like the random draw. So hopefully we got something good off of that. Maybe some civics, maybe some resources or whatever. Really, really nice grab there. And of course, if we defend this city successfully, and look at this comparison, by the way. These cities were settled at roughly the same time. I can't even check this. Opus was founded on 42. Duratha was down 35. So these cities were founded 7 turns apart. And thanks to Epics, this is now developing culture with pretty much just a luxury in olives. Yeah, cool. Cool. Nice to see Epics pulling some weight, at least a little bit of weight. One thing that I want to mention, by the way, because Filthy and I did some conversation about the lackluster feeling of Epics. And there was a nuance that I left out, and I commented it on that video to somebody who mentioned it, but who brought up the fact that they liked Epics. And there's a nuance about Epics that I think gets left out of these discussions, is that it's very meta-oriented. And what I mean by that is this is a duel. It's one player versus another player. Typically, the players, are pretty decent, they're pretty experienced, right? Or at least Alcaras is. But we all play on, where is it? We all play with normal tribes. Where is the tribe strength? Tribe level. Tribe level is normal. So in a single player game, epics is going to be very valuable if you're looking at something like strong or raging tribes. It's going to have a significantly larger value on a higher difficulty setting. So our tribe strength is lower. And then the other thing about that is, we're fully cleared in 50 turns, right? And that's another direct result of tribe strength. So it's like that tempo of using epics early in the game to kind of boost culture output off of tribal clears in particular basically is non-existent in the duel meta, because you don't always end up in a situation like this where you have constant source of units. But actually, in reality, this is also a constant source of culture for Blaj, so maybe that'll help bridge the gap in Babylon. All right, so down goes the camel launcher. Countered. You take our elephant, we take your camel. How many actual units in Carthage's army? In this battle, we have 2 slingers, a maceman. Yes, that is correct. And also, can't stress this enough, since you just joined, Carthage has only ever actually built 5 units so far in the game. Just a turn or two ago, that was only 2 units. So, I mean, we're mostly dealing with free units or merc units. Okay, so that's 2 more kills. We lost 3 kills and we took 2 kills. Compared to Babylon, who has produced 16 units. So let's look at the whole unit total. We have 15 military units in Carthage at the moment in total, including, all of these units back here that might be making their way to the front line. There's an axe back here, things like that. And if we look over at Babylon, we have 10 units. So currently there are 5 more units in Carthage than there are in Babylon, which is an issue for Babylon. All right, so our statistician is informing us that the player, I'm reading this here. All right, we're making attacks on the city. I don't think we'll be able to kill this unit inside, though. All right, so I'm going to read this for you. The player who won a game with the least amount of units is Alcaras already, with 2 units in his 30-turn win over Michael of Minsk. Koala is number 2, and number 3 in his matches over Kiriyama, and Purple Bull Moose with 3 and 5 units. And that's units produced, not units in the actual game. We're talking about Carthage games, things like that. Or, again, things like the Mercenary event. I'm pretty sure this Maceman came from the Mercenary event. So, there is that. All right. Ooh, and now is the perfect... we keep getting... I really don't want to cycle machinery. Yeah, I really hate to see us cycle machinery here, but I think the orders boost is going to give us what we need to get to the front line as quickly as possible, because we have no road network. Devastatingly enough, we have no road network. We have some really... this is a decent force, to be honest. 2 warriors, whatever, but a chariot that can route, an Akkadian archer. We have another Akkadian archer. We have a spear. I think this force that you are looking at across these cities could defend this. The issue we have is it's 2 turns away, where we don't want it to be. So, shit. And Alcaras has a highway. He also has roads. He's built his road networks. He's rushing. He's all in on this. He's rushed out an axe. He's all in on this. He's got a slinger coming out. He's got slinger, axe. Yeah, Alcaras is seeing the blood on the water, going in for it. And honestly, he's forcing his opponent to do the same. We have military units in every city, and that's another reason why clear potential is so important, because, Alcaras is fully set up. He also has 20 workers. Let's not forget about the fact that Alcaras actually manages to have 25, Jesus Christ, or 25 workers in 50 turns. That's insane, compared to Babylon's 10. So he has 12 cities, 25 workers. He obviously is spending the majority, of his orders in combat right now. But even if they were both running even and Babylon defends this attack, Babylon's still in a situation where it has 10 workers and 9 cities, or 10 cities now. Okay. It's Carthage will, in theory, be able to keep propelling himself ahead economically, even if he does have to fall back from this fight. He did take 3 kills last turn. Carthage took 3 kills last turn. 2 beefy units have been removed from the field. We've lost our prized camel archer on Babylon, and we lost our free elephant for the Carthaginians. Let's check the politics. Politics in Babylon is fantastic. This is exactly what you need to see. This is another... Wow, how much damage does this guy do? All right, just to point this out, we get 10% for being in friendly territory. We get 10% for having a friendly family. And we get 20% for being sentinel. So any sentinel archer in this region is going to have a plus 40 to attack as long as this city holds, which is another reason why we really need to get... we don't even have any more sentinel units. Shit. Oh, that's awful. One's coming out down here. One's 2 turns away. It looks like we went a little heavy on the sages, which I guess makes sense. Slinger back here. Yeah. But yeah, plus 40... attack and defense. It's 40 strength, yeah. This is a beefy sentinel. We'll definitely be able to secure about 2 more kills next turn, I think, as Babylon. And maybe we just hold. Seems Alcaras could be hurting from lack of melee units for forest clear. Yes, indeed. That's probably why he's rushing out an axeman. He has another axeman coming up behind 3 turns away. He's still building slingers, but yeah, it's just so amazing to me. One thing I absolutely love about this game is how the combat works, because I love how it comes down to those tiny little rounding errors. You always get yourself, like we saw that last turn with the elephant, All Blaj needed was that 1 extra attack. He just needed 1 extra attack. And he almost didn't get it, right? And the reason why that's so important is because when you just need, and right here, you just need 3 more damage. God damn it. 3 more damage. Rounding errors, right? You always need 1 or 3 more damage to kill something. Are we coming in with a route now? Can we force march this? No! Damn it! He probably thought he could. Oh, no, we're going to do this. That's good too. Fine. But yeah, again, rounding error. 1 HP. Are you shitting me? We have to waste an attack for this. Although, we kind of don't. Did this guy already attack? Oh, yes, he did. Okay. Yeah. But what I think is great about this, what's actually fantastic from a design perspective about this 1 HP, is that this is what heightens the value of things like, for example, the splash damage that this guy does, right? So the Akkadian splash damage, or like we just saw here, the Spearman pierce damage, or, the value of sitting in scrub versus not sitting in scrub, right? This scrub maybe knocked off 1 damage from this unit, right? So that's what makes the terrain matter. That's what makes the tactical elements of this game shine, is whoever came up with that combat algorithm, and I mean like literally just the actual math of how damage is calculated. Don't get me wrong, as infuriating as it is, because ending up with just 1 HP left on something that you are trying to kill is just the most infuriating thing in the world. However, it's a beautiful aspect of the game's design because it's what makes all of the tactical elements of the terrain and the different unit abilities and the different counters and promotions and things like that all come into play into this beautiful ecosystem of something as simple as standing in a forest tile can define a battlefield. Something as simple as standing behind a river can define a battlefield. And that's just relentlessly satisfying. As frustrating as this is, the ecosystem of combat is so satisfying because of it. And I'm just, oh, God, I love this game so much. What a day. What a day. What a time to be alive. What a time to be alive. All right, so anyway, yeah, politics in Babylon is great for where we are. And I want to check politics in Carthage, because I made this mistake when I launched one of my attacks. Aha! Politics in Carthage is not that great. Of course, you know, actually, with a mercenary army, it doesn't even matter. Literally, look at this. No families. Even, again, this is a mercenary maceman, because it's a square unit, so no family. Yeah. This is a mercenary spear. Yeah, that's so funny. Literally, just this unit is the only unit that Alcaras actually built himself. And this could be actually even be the starting slinger for all I know. So it could still technically be a unit that he didn't build. That's awesome. Oh man, dude! But think about how great that will be if Blaj actually repels this attack and kills everything. Because then, militarily speaking, they'll be equalized. All right, Blaj is saying, "Oh no!" again. Wanted to move my slinger. Uh-oh. How many orders do we have left? We had 3 orders, too. Oh no. Could have even killed this guy. Oh, well. Whoa. Bold move from Alcaras. He definitely took a kill here. Can we make this? Can we force march this? Do we want to force march this? I don't know. All right, we're coming up, making some progress again on the city. I really don't. I mean, this is a Acadian. I don't think we're gonna be able to kill this. Oh, the maceman. Never mind. I forgot about the maceman. The maceman will chunk the shit out of it. Never mind. But now I think with the maceman, if this Acadian survives, and it looks like it's gonna, I think we can get the maceman now. Oh boy, Blaj. This is incredible. I think the maceman's on the table. Maybe? What do we got, Alcaras? What else do you got? Great scouting, by the way. I really love this vision here. Let's take a look. Solid vision of the whole field. The whole border. Maybe moving one of these guys in. This guy right here could probably afford to go right here. You'd be able to see this. So maybe just step this up a little bit. Oh, and we managed to take the kill. With what, though? Oh, a slinger. We moved this guy. So this guy was... All right, so we did move up a slinger. Okay. All right. Good job. Couldn't take the city. But we could kill the Acadian, which is very, very valuable. So maybe that maceman will live to fight another day. Of course, there's the tactician... Yes, workers defend cities again. Also, I don't think he attacked. First of all, workers do defend cities again. Although I don't think that's live. He just... I'm pretty sure he attacked with a slinger. I'm going to let him know that. I don't think worker defense is live yet, right? That's in the next main. I'm going to clarify Well, actually, you know what? Never mind. I'm not going to clarify for the players because it's a tournament. Never mind. I got the impulse to clarify, but shit, if you don't know the rules, you don't know the rules. I'm going to delete that. Yeah. I don't need to clarify that. At first, I was thinking I had to, but I don't. Doesn't matter. He can be confused about it next time. All right. So we took 2 kills. So far, I'm pretty sure overall kill potential between both players is even. Well, not kill potential, but kill score right now. Oh, Fluffy's saying it's live. Okay, well that's nice to know, but I'm still pretty sure that Alcaras killed this thing with a slinger. Because I think he attacked... Because I thought when I looked, all 3 of these units had attacked. And the Acadian was still alive. So I think this slinger killed it, in which case, even if it was a kill, the worker would have sat there because you're not actually taking the city. Yeah. All right. Well, good to know in general. Yeah, what? No, that never worked like that. Alcaras, you silly man. Oh no! This is dreadful! This is awful! Ah! What is happening? Oh no! Honestly, we could stand to get another boat. Another boat would make this a lot easier to deal with. Because look at it, we're doing 10 damage to each unit in the water. So you can actually manage this crisis with just 2 ships. I've said this before, but surprisingly, the best barbarian police are 2 boats. If your raiders are coming from the ocean, honestly, just build 2 ships, and you can... The other thing is, too, is like, look how slow these things move, right? The ability to zone lock them, you put a boat here, you put the other boat, like, here, get the kill, and then this one has to move around that boat. So you actually can micro it enough that even just 2 units against something as silly as 4 or 5, with zone of control and kill potential, you can actually police barbs. All right, sorry, back to the battlefield. How are we looking here? So we got 2 kills. Carthage took 2 kills. We entered this city here. And it looks like we're going to try and kill the Maceman. We've also forced marched a chariot up into this back line here. What did we just attack? Did we attack the Maceman? We did attack the Maceman. Are we able to kill this thing? Oh, man, Blaj, you have your work cut out for you, buddy. All right. Oh, no, we're still going to need one more attack. Slinger? Slinger would actually do a full kill. Dude, this is wild, by the way. Check this out. This Acadian does 5 damage to the Maceman. This Slinger does 7. Sentinel, man. Sentinel. Don't mess with Sentinel Slingers. They're insane. This Slinger does more damage to a Maceman than an Acadian Archer because of the Sentinel and family bonus. Also, yeah, look at the political aspect too, right? Crazy, guys. Crazy. That's what I'm saying about all the tiny little numbers matching up. Even the politics, the ability to manage your empire well, plays a role in the offensive capability. This got me in my game. I launched an attack, and for some reason, it didn't even check my political situation. And you had a situation where you had a very angry empire, or at least an upset empire, versus an empire that was just having a fantastic time. We're thrilled to be alive. And that's going to create a combat math swing of about like 10 to 20 combat damage, because one person's going to get a buff while the other person's going to get a debuff, right? So I'll have like -5, -10 attack, or strength, and your opponent will have +5 or +10 strength. So in total, that's like 10 to 20. It's crazy. But yeah, and this is a great example because we have upset Trader, an upset Trader Arcadian, right, compared to a pleased Sentinel Slinger in friendly territory. 2-fold damage difference on a 6-strength unit. On a 6-strength unit that has Shield Bearer, of all things, as well. These little micro differences add up. Hard to keep track of, especially in network, in live play. When you're up against the clock, you got 2 minutes to think. Every movement counts. You can't misclick. There's no undo, right? There's lots and lots of pressure to make sure everything can go right. And we've seen some misclicks already. We've seen some misplays, I believe, from both players, to be honest, because I think there were a couple of moves that Alcaras had made that I haven't quite called them out specifically, but I think there's a couple rounds now that could have gone a little bit better. He's struggling with these woods for sure. He does have 2 axes coming up finally in the back line, which will help a little bit. One more turn on another Sentinel Slinger. We're going to need that in this situation. 32 orders left. Still time on the clock. I haven't seen a single movement from Blaj. I kind of want to check the chat here. Make sure that things are still looking good. He could just be mathing it out. But I do worry with a full minute going by without a single movement. We can buy more orders if we need it. Still spamming decrees in Meleth for the Carthaginians. Come on, buddy. If we can knock out this Maceman, that'll be a nice win for us. Now, the real interesting thing is the difference, dear God, man, rounding errors, between Sentinel and Steadfast, right? Because if we had a champion nation, we could have Steadfast troops in this. Blaj is looking at 11 units in his empire at the moment. So we're staring at 5 in the field right now. 6 in the field right now. That means there are... It's 11, right? No, 12. That means there's another 6 units elsewhere on the map. He's facing off against, currently in the field, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 units. So he has 6 units in the field to 9. He has another 4 he can bring up. Oh, there's actually another 3 here in Carthage. We have a warrior coming out, a slinger coming out next turn, a slinger coming out in 2 turns, and then this nightmare back here that we have to worry about. Which is just awful. I believe Carthage, so a question from chat, who picked first? Alcaras picked the map, and then I think Blaj even let him pick first, which is interesting. So Alcaras got everything he would ever want. He got a tiny, we're on a tiny ultra wide. And he got to pick Carthage. Which he's committed to maining for the entire tournament. He pretty much said. He said he's going to play it until he loses. And he lost once already. And then I had checked in with him and I said, well, now that you've lost, do you think you're going to play anybody else? And he says, no, probably not. And then we both like to joke that he's playing it to get him nerfed. Basically. Man. I would say the same thing, but to be honest, I'm not really that good at playing Carthage. I don't play them enough. I don't like to play them. I kind of always forget about their elephant. And which means I'm not really good at using it. Blaj did not opt for champions. No, they opted for Babylon. Which, I mean, I think is kind of okay. The main reason why I think you want champions when you're up against Carthage is actually less the fact that they're going to have a handful of tribal units in their roster. The main benefit, I think, of champions going up against Carthage is less the fact that you're going to be facing tribal units and more the fact that you need to make sure that you match their clear space, their clear rate, right? So whatever you play, and so a good non-champion nation that I actually think could go up against Carthage nicely would be the Hittites. And why do I say that? Well, because the bonus chariot. You get yourself your bonus chariot early enough, you can go on a clear spree, add in a regular chariot or two, right? And now you're just clearing super, super fast. So basically, that's your main concern with going up against Carthage, is less the actual conflict, which of course is clearly, obviously super important, but more the fact that you don't want to be in the situation that we're in, where one player has 10 of their cities and the other player has 13 of their cities, you know, the whole section of the map where Babylon doesn't have access to. So champions or somebody like the Hittites could probably resolve that issue a little bit. Oh, and then we have another kill. So this, I think, is the killing blow here. This may very well be the killing blow. That's 3 units down. 3 units down. Not ideal. That's funny. Yeah, Alcaras and I were just talking about the Civics one. It's funny because you know, it's cool that they did the recruitment nerf. Like, that's fine, but I was joking how, like, they didn't even address the thing that we think is the bigger issue, which is the 200 civics per city. It's so gross. Oh man. But again, you know, they're not winning every game. They're getting picked a lot, but they're not winning every game, and I think that's important to keep in mind. Of course, it's hard to you know, everybody is of a different skill level, so it's hard to really say what's strong or what's not. I mean, I think we can make some obvious educated guesses, but, you know, Aaron's a strong player, I'm a strong player, I played Carthage, I still lost. So, I mean, is it because Aaron's really good? Is it because I'm not as good as people think? Is it because Carthage is busted or not busted, or I just misplayed? You know, it's hard to trace things down to a simple metric of, well, it lost this game, or it won that game, or it did this. But I do think you can look at what it's capable of, right? The amount of clear speed and the amount of economic potential is just insane. And so basically, as I've been saying, it's just very, very hard to have a bad Carthage game, where I think it's easier to have a bad game as somebody else. But, you know, we'll see. If Alcaras does win this, I'm going to be happy to go up against his Carthage if I can win my way to face him. Alcaras is arguably the player who I faced, I think, the most in terms of my own personal private duels. So I'm very familiar with facing him. That doesn't mean to suggest I have a confidence that I will win. He has beaten me before, and of course, I think in observing him in this tournament, he has gotten better. He has faced stronger opponents. He's practiced more. And of course, he does know what he's doing, and he seems like he has a well-oiled machine working for him with this Carthage spam that he's currently running. So and ironically, one of the matches where he did beat me for the first time, he was playing Carthage himself. So, I mean, he already proved that he could do it with that nation, but I'm happy to try it again. Happy to go up against that. And of course, if Blaj can pull out of this, that'll be just fantastic. And I think he could become the king of upsets, because this could be the third victory he's had that was an upset. Certainly would be the second, because his last match wasn't looking so hot. Right around this time, too. Right around the time in the mid-game as well. And he held his ground. He kept plugging away at it, and he came out on top. So if we can see that happen again here, boy, that would just be incredible. That would be absolutely incredible. So let's take a peek at the economies and see how we would look at long-term. We're making oh my god, we're still making 500 gold per turn in Carthage. Also, both of our starting rulers are still alive. That's insane. Ooh, we have the Butcher's Mask. So we get extra bloodthirsty wherever we're governing, which is... I don't know. Are we governing something? Why the hell are we in Durafa? That's wild to me that we have a ruler here. You actually don't want to do this because there is an event. There is an event that can trigger when a city gets attacked that can result in the person who's governing it dying, like in the attack. Thematically, that's what's happening. Like they die in the siege. And that can, I'm pretty sure that can target your ruler if they're there too. But maybe that's on purpose. Do we want to get our heir and we don't want to pay the abdication fee? Maybe. Sometimes I've done that. I've tossed my ruler on a general that I know, as a general that I know, on a unit that I know will die. And I actually cross my fingers that you get that death event. Just so I can abdicate without actually paying the legitimacy or civics. But yeah, it's interesting that the ruler's here, because that strict warlike Butcher's Mask is a really great combo. We want to take this guy and pop him maybe back here, or maybe on Opus. Yeah, that would be really great. We should put him in Opus. Probably give us a 4-turn slinger coming out with a promotion. I think my microphone is gradually migrating towards my face. I really need a new mic setup. We have steel coming online for the Babylonians. That'll be nice. What else were our options? Citizenship, metaphysics, coinage. Yeah, my microphone is moving towards me. All right, I'm going to adjust that. So if you hear some weird noises on my microphone, I do apologize. But all right, hopefully that'll work. Okay. Chopping some wood makes sense. Need to fuel the war machine. It is unfortunate. How many turns on an archer? Yeah, so we could get a 5-turn slinger, but I bet you if we took this warlike strict ruler and tossed him in Opus, we could get ourselves a 6-turn, a 5-turn archer instead that would come out with a promotion. So, I mean, it's hard. I want to be clear that I'm not being overly critical when I make this type of judgment. I always like to explore the possibilities of what we can do. Like, what can we do in our situation to try and maximize some efficiency, or, I try to, like, puzzle out the possibility space. That's what excites me the most about watching these types of games. Like, what are we capable of doing? How can we, as Babylon, solve this puzzle of what feels like a possible defeat? How can we play this out? So that's what leads me to thinking things like, oh, well, all right, we have this, but we can't get strict or warlike to do anything from Durafa. So if we move that over here, it was like, oh, now we can shave the 1 turn off of this archer, and it will get a promotion. So those two things combined can lead to a massive, change. We are looking, so yeah, for heirs, we have a judge on, first of all, Becht. You got to answer me this next. How many rulers have made it to the great in the tournament so far? Workers do not pop out. Yeah, so that is live, which is great, by the way. I love that this is back in the game. It used to work like this before, and then it was changed. And it was changed for a very, very funny reason. The Alcaras used to spawn, well, it still does. It spawns a caravan every 5 turns, and caravans used to be able to stack directly on top of each other. And so eventually we discovered that if you have a million caravans in one city, it basically becomes impossible to take unless you have a massively strong routing unit. But although I'm pretty sure you can't even route into cities, so I'm not 100% sure if even that would work. And basically, just to have this impregnable fortress, which honestly is quite thematic for the Alcaras when you think about it, because Petra was very difficult. The Romans tried to take Petra once or twice and failed miserably. So that would have been funny, but that, I believe, is the impetus for civilians getting bumped out of cities. But now they have brought it back, and they've resolved the caravan issue a different way, which is nice to see. I like to see this return. So the question was heirs. We have a 47-year-old judge, pathfinder, educated, wanton heir. Pretty solid stats, lots of charisma. This is for Carthage. If we hop on over to Babylon, we actually have a schemer lined up, another schemer with pretty decent stats. No traits yet, no strength yet, but pretty decent stats across the board. We do have a builder. No, we have another schemer, scholar, and a diplomat. So nothing, no military archetypes we can pivot into. And in fact, if we look in Carthage, are there any military archetypes we could pivot into here? Orator, diplomat. We do have a zealot. We could name this zealot heir. And, or I guess we could do it the dumb way. I hate this change. Can we do this the dumb way? Oh, no, we can't. All right, so never mind. Foot and mouth, I guess. Yeah, we can name this character the heir, and put them on the throne. All right, so now we have axes. We have axes flanking here. They killed another unit. And now this is going to create more of a hassle for Babylon to get into position. Also, hello, Bulmos. I answered your question, but I didn't greet you. So thanks for joining in on the stream. Thanks for being here. And my mic is migrating again. I think I'm actually making it worse. No, they do. Yeah, so workers do defend cities now. All right, forgive me while I fiddle with my microphone. Wouldn't be a stream without me messing with my microphone again. All right. So it's Blaj's turn, and he's got to figure out what the heck he's going to do in this situation. All right, I think we're good. Forgive me again. Apologize for that. And we have this nightmare. But we've killed 2 units with ships. We have an Akkadian archer in 7 turns. Slinger in 1. Slinger in 3. Yeah, I think the other issue we're having right now is we're relying too heavily on slingers. Which, I mean, we probably want that for timing reason. But the elephant situation, this is the only elephant on the map. There's one there and there's one here. So these are your 2 elephants. So you have riders, probably imported somebody. Right here would be my assumption. Yeah, so we have the import. And then this is the only other location, so we're just doing... We're not building any elephants at the moment. Do we have laws? What's our law situation? We have 5 laws in Carthage. We're building a stronghold now. That's actually worthwhile checking, so thanks for calling my attention to that. It's been a while. Yeah, we have a stronghold under construction now. We do have 6 laws. Ooh, we have 6 laws in Babylon. No strong culture anywhere, though, unfortunately. Although, I guess we're 8 turns away. So, that would be a fun twist of events if... What would be our 7th law? Citizenship. Citizenship would be our 7th law. Alright, we have some action coming in. We have another death. Carthage took 2 kills last turn, and we're taking 2 kills now. We have 14 orders left. Nothing else in the region that looks like it can attack. Wait a minute. Oh, he missed an opportunity to kill an axe. That sucks. I think I would have gone for the axe. I think kills are more important than anything at this stage. Oh, this Maceman's going to come back and haunt him, though. All right, so back with the stats again from the tournament. We have 2 players other than Alcaras. Alcaras, I'm assuming now would be the 3rd. Have reached the Great Cognomen. We have Klaus Koala in a Hittite game, and we have Aaron when he in a game as Egypt. So that is yeah. All right. What were the archetypes? And yes, for those of you who do not know, both Klaus Koala and Aaron are our semi-finalists in the top bracket. Next weekend, I believe, or if you're watching this on YouTube, it's entirely possible that that match could already be in the playlist by the time you watch this. Definitely check it out. It should be an interesting matchup. I think we have very strong players. I think both players are strong. I think both players are strong for very different reasons. They have both won every match in the tournament so far against pretty decent opponents. And yeah, they've cleared the bracket. They've cleared the match. And yeah, so we have a Hittite schemer, classic, and an Egyptian judge, fantastic. 2 of my own personal favorite archetype combos. I love an Egyptian judge. I think that's fantastic for a 7-law rush, which is actually, I believe, what Aaron did. And of course, I think the Hittite schemer is just a delightful opener. So really, really cool to see those 2 particular combos reach the Great Cognomen. And now what do we have with Babylon? We have a Carthaginian schemer achieving the Great Queen Alcara the Great. Fantastic. And both were the first rulers, naturally. It's very, very difficult to get the Great on a later ruler. It's certainly possible, but I feel like that'll be incredibly unlikely in a duel format. The game will likely just be over by the time that happens, and if only because a human player is likely to surrender, I think, before a 2nd or 3rd ruler achieves the Great. Yes. Oh, man, boy. This is the moment. We have a full retreat here. We have a full retreat from Carthage. He probably did rename the ruler. Yes, of course. We have a full retreat from the Carthaginians. Blaj was successful in his defense of Dur-Athara. That is incredible. Kudos to our man Blaj. Steady play. Resilient iron will. Still, I don't think it's still looking... Oh, they're similar in power, actually. Similar in power. I might even take this opportunity to pursue in pursuit of an extra kill. here or there. Well defended. Alcaraz is saying well defended. He's conceding the field, not the game, mind you. He's conceding the field to his opponent, acknowledging that he did not have the tempo, the place to take that defeat. Man, now is the time. Every time I get something like that free chariot, or like the free horseman from land consolidation, I end up using it in a fight, and then I end up getting killed immediately. And then I tell myself every time, like, God, you know what? I really wish I would just hang on to that horse. Plop it in this city. Let my opponent know that I have it. Just plop it right there, but never use it. Right? Just fight the whole battle without it. And the reason why do I say that? The reason why I say that is because, he just moved, so we lost our route chain. But I was going to try and point out that as a route chain, because I think the best time to use your chariot or your horseman is when you start winning the battle, or when they start retreating, because then, now you can come in and take an awesome route chain off of it. But what ends up happening is you end up losing your single unit. And again, if you can build chariots, then it's a different question. You can just build chariots. But I'm talking about if you're relying on your free elephant, which Alcaras had, or your free chariot, which Blaj had. Your that bonus unit as your singular source of a route. I think it actually might be strategically sound to do the best you can to have that hang back as much as you possibly can. Don't go for those immediate early routes. Although, again, that's tactically sound too, because if you get a lot of kills right out of the gate, then that can shift the battle in your favor. But so I'm not saying one's necessarily better than the other. Probably better to take more kills sooner. But I'm always just, once I lose that unit, because it happens all the time, I get a route, or maybe I fail the route, but then the unit dies. I'm like, shit, maybe if I just hung on to this for this retreat, I could go hunting. I could go kill more stuff. That is impressive. I have to give our man Blaj a round of applause for that defense. It was not looking good. He had the crisis in the homeland, which Alcaraz... Can Alcaraz see this? Alcaraz can just barely see. He can't see the things that he needs to see that could give him the information he needs that, maybe he could have stayed in that fight. I don't know. It's definitely difficult to take a Sentinel city. It's so hard. And they're all set. These two units are Sentinel now. We have more Sentinel archers coming up. My man Blaj, well done. All right, so now what we have to do, the battle for Dur-Athara is officially over for now. What we need to do is take stock. We have to look at where we are in the tech tree, where we are in our stats. So we're going to do a quick rundown of that again. 36 population is 28 in Carthage. We have 12 specialists in Babylon, compared to 9 in Carthage. So that's pretty solid benefit there. We have 10 units produced in Carthage to 24. 24 have been produced in Babylon now. And we needed to build those units to compete with that mercenary tribe. 9 mercs, right? Plus at least 3 bonus units. So Carthage had about 23 units in total so far, to Babylon's 24, plus or minus a few more free units. All right, so there is some advancement happening here. He is going to secure a kill, making a decision to fight on the open plain, which is bold. He does have vision, can't quite see any units in routing range. I kind of like the idea of going for a kill here. It's risky, but screw it. Why not, right? Awesome. Punishing the retreat. Have to take every advantage you can. Do we go for another one? We have our Acadian in the region, 6 damage there, and a spear. I think we go for another one. Looks like we're going for another one. My man Blaj not done with the fight. Oh, man! 2 kills on the retreat. Now, Alcaraz will have to decide, am I picking a fight right outside this hunter's territory? Which, I mean, the answer is no. It's gonna be a no. You could kill a decently promoted spear here, but you're very likely just gonna lose another axe, or potentially 2. Oh man, and yeah, Snep is saying, man, it seems like Blaj feeds these desperation defenses. He just finds a way to pull something out of the bag. And you know what it all comes down to? It comes down to morale. You have to be consistent. You have to keep your head in the game. Of course, a loss is a loss. These things happen, but I mean, you need to deal with the fact that you're losing 1, 2, 3 units around, and maybe you're only killing 1, 2, or 3 units. So like, if you can keep that kill tempo, that's great. But like, you have damage on the city. You have to just not be like, oh, it's very easy to look at a larger force, and that's what we were dealing with. There were like 12 units in this region to what was initially maybe 3 or 4 from Blaj. And I think at multiple points in this fight, Blaj was dealing with numbers where they had like 5 units and their opponent had like 9 units, right? It's very easy to look at that and think, I'm screwed, right? Think, I'm screwed. I don't have it. GG. But if you keep with it, if you stick with it, if you do the best you can, you take your time, you breathe, you patient it out, you math out the damage, And we've seen some myth clicks or misplays from Blaj in this process as well, mind you, right? So you're never going to play perfectly, but you just do the best you can, you stay in it, you keep your head in the game, and then this is possible. This can happen. And we have Soren actually in the chat saying someone already said this from a different Blaj match specifically. I'm going to read it for you. It said, I was away for an hour. What happened to Alcaras' big army? It looked like he had double Blaj when he moved in. And exactly right. Now Blaj has won the day, right? Has won this conflict. And that same thing happened in his previous match. I remember talking to somebody was like, wow, I stopped watching that last session, and I'm surprised to find it's going into another part, right? It was going to a second session or third session, whatever it was. And then Blaj went off to win that game. When some people who watched that game were like, oh, he's going to lose. Okay, that sucks. But here he is. He's winning this conflict. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean he's going to win the game, but he has put Alcaras in his place and slapped him down a little bit. So let's take a look at more stats, because the other issue we're going to be here is that we still have all of this raiding in the capital. We're taking effort to rush out units to deal with it. We still need to clear this peninsula as Blaj, right? We have raids down here, so we are still in a crisis mode where Alcaras has just suffered a defeat. He's not really in crisis mode. His economy has halted. Apparently he got a rebel back here. He spent all of his orders on combat, so his economy has been frozen, but so has Babylon's, and yet Alcaras is in a better developed state at the moment. So let's keep running down the stats and look at where we're at in terms of overall layout for our players. We have improvements. 66 to 61, so they're neck and neck on improvement counts, which is good news for Blaj. Technologies, Blaj actually has 3 more techs than Carthage at the moment, so that's really great news, and 1 more law. So they're 1 tech away from being at 7 laws, and ironically, Duroth is almost halfway to strong. They're not going to get strong anytime soon, but ironically, this epic funnel has just... Oh, and Alcaras continued to retreat. He continued to retreat. He's ceding the field completely. Good scouting position from this schemer scout. Good scouting. He finally moved this scout as well to look up these reinforcements, and we're all right. We're looking around. We're getting a good look at the army. Now Alcaras has a better sense that Blaj doesn't really have a lot going for him. Oh, there's a random vandal down here being a dick. Thanks. That's nice. Okay. So oh man, and this is the thing, win or lose, this is why I love these games. This is like why I love watching, because to me, it's not about who wins or loses. And even in my own game, right? It's about the battles, right? It's about the journey that we face. We get to experience as the viewers and as the players to get through these games. It's just so exciting, because I feel like so many of us watching this initial attack from Carthage, watching this might being thrown into Dur Athara, we're thinking, well, shit, Blaj is screwed. We had a couple of comments in chat so far pretty much saying that this was the end of days for Blaj, and yet, some solid positioning, some excellent opinion with our... Oh, actually, wow. Our opinion in the Hunters has tanked. But anyway, the political situation was solid. The positioning was solid. The Sentinel bonus is never, ever, ever to be underestimated. And yeah, Blaj kept a steady head. You know, he kept a level head. He's hung in there. And he did what he had to do. We do have an elephant coming out in 6 turns, so I suspect the Carthaginians will return shortly. Let's keep looking at the overview of stats across the empires. So let's look at overall economy. Money is still massively in favor of Alcaras. Just, I don't understand this. This is incredible. What? That's not right. That can't be right. Is this saying that Alcaras has generated 20,000 money this entire match, but Blaj has only generated 924? There is no earthly way that that's possible. That's in the difference between 55 turns. I mean, I know Alcaras has made a shitload of money, but I have a hard time believing Blaj has only made 924 money in 55 turns. But if that's the case, holy shit. All right, we have an upgraded Axemen now. Axes are in the field for the Babylonians, matching strength level with our Carthaginian axes. Of course, unfortunately, I think the biggest unfortunate thing for Blaj is that he did not manage to take out the free maceman that popped into the field, this mercenary maceman. If we were able to get this out of the field, I would feel a lot better about our situation, because this maceman can come up and chunk in our Acadians as well, does serious damage to all of our units. That's going to be a real strong unit, and it's going to help set up route chains for the African elephants, which will be a big deal. We are getting monasticism right now. Oh, we might pivot to battle line. Now we're sticking with monasticism because that's going to be law number 7. We just got our 6th law from citizenship. All right, so monasticism is going to be law number 7. It does look like Alcaras will be the first to his 7th law. He's also, in all of that hubbub, Alcaras has managed to secure the museum, and he's still just churning out decrees like an insane madman. Makes sense. Oh, and we're building a stronghold here. So we have 2 cities with strongholds. Actually, it doesn't even matter. No, culture is going to be the bottleneck, actually, because we don't have elephants in the capital. Neapolis. So he's going to get 7 laws in 5 turns, but he's going to have no way to produce an 8 strength unique unit. Conversely, Babylon is cycling Polis through Polis now, which makes sense. Or I'd probably actually, I think Spoked Wheel is a good enough grab that you want that now. I wouldn't care. This would be 3 turns. I would take Spoked Wheel 1000%. Although he's probably thinking he wants his lumber mills up and running, which I guess makes sense as well. So tricky. But yes, once we get citizenship, we will have an 8 strength unit potential in the field. Sabretooth is saying the money is net income, so it would count his time in the red. All right, so that's just wild. We're saying in 55 turns, between all the pluses and minuses, Alcaras has made 20,000 money in this game, and Blaj has netted 900. That is absolute madness. Now I just hope Alcaras loses, because that would be a hilarious advantage to throw away. And I'm kidding. I don't actually hope that he loses, but that would be devastating. Yeah, it just went down. Okay, so it just went down. All right, I see it now. That now it's net. It's net income. All right, that makes sense now. Great. Okay, military score. Here's a review here. We are now, for the first time in quite some time, less strength than our Babylonian opponent. We nosedive one after the other. Just devastating kickback. Strong performance from Blaj here. Let's look at orders. Order economy still favors the Carthaginians, and of course, they're going to benefit from these really, really quick decrees. They're still doing 2-turn decrees in this city. That's 6 orders every 2 turns. All right. So this is some interesting positioning up north. I think it might be smart to cut these woods. He's going to need to be mindful. Blaj is going to need to be mindful of the fact that his opponent does have access to elephants in his rider seat. So I would probably try to take my scout, excuse me, and locate the rider seat and keep eyes on the... Oh, we probably wouldn't be able to do that because of this territory collapse. Man, Alcaras' territory is fantastic. We have a Axeman down here being a dick. That's nice. Not going down without a fight. Not going down in the second session. Blaj is committed to hanging in as best he can. Oh, so the last stat that I want to check is science, the ever-important science. Blaj maintains his lead. He's been ahead in science all game long. He has a 400 science, exactly 400 science lead on his opponent, plus the 400 science that he got for monasticism for free. So he actually has an 800 science lead, plus or minus any other event boost that could pop up. All right, we have a nickname in the chat forming for Blaj. Snep says, I think I'm going to start calling Blaj the Cardiac Kid. I like that one quite a bit. Yeah, because he's going to give you a heart attack when he plays. Ah, yes. So this is an interesting question. The question is about, what do we think about the forums Carthage is pumping out? I don't hate it in theory. So if we look at this, right, we have the net yield. Forum 3 is actually going to net us an extra 2.6 civics per turn. And when it completes, it's going to refund 60 civics, and it has a total cost of 80 civics. So when you think about it in terms of global yield, I get tripped up on in this debate with people sometimes of global versus local yield. In reality, every rank of forum, because of the payback, only actually costs you 20 civics. So technically speaking, we're spending 20 civics to get a net yield of 2.6 civics, which in my mind is almost always worth it. Now, I say almost. So what makes it not worth it? What you want to think about is actual build time, right? So this looks like it would probably a 5 or 6 turn forum. In that situation, I would not be necessarily too keen to build it. But if this were a 3-turn forum 3, well then it's not just cost, it's also build queue time. I would absolutely spend 3 turns to get 2.6 civics. We also have to think about what are our other options. We could get Elder Acolytes. We don't have actually any other real strong urbans here. We could be running festivals, I guess. We could be building more units or more workers. We have 25 workers. We don't need more workers. Yeah, so honestly, I don't hate this. I think this is fine because this is going to create strong civics long term. In terms of total civics draw, because the other reason why I don't think in terms of local yield specifically is all of our local yields funnel to the global yield anyway. So by spending 80 civics that would be going global into this and getting refunded 60. Yeah, but so someone's bringing out the stone cost as well. We have 188 stone income per turn. Our stone income's fine. I'm a huge fan of projects. We're also getting forums everywhere. I suspect he's probably going to build the Acropolis. The Acropolis is in the game. And it's not particularly considered a high value wonder, so he could probably have a confidence that he's going to be able to secure it. Yeah, he's building forums everywhere. Honestly, I don't hate it. I build forums a lot. He could build fishermen. He could do that. I mean, I don't hate it. I build forums very often. oftentimes, honestly, when I'm settling a new city, there are two things I build first, and I don't mean I build them both. I mean the two things in competition for the thing that I build the first in a freshly settled city is a worker, which of course everybody is always wanting to build worker first. But the other thing that is the second most likely thing I would build first in a city is a forum. So I don't hate forums. Again, when it comes to upgrading them, it's just a matter of how much time we're spending in the city itself. I think I don't hate it. This is probably a little bit too much time that I wouldn't personally have spent in the city. We don't even have a strong civic governor, but now check out this orator, right? This would be 6 civics, or this eloquent oligarch. This would be 17, right? So this is a situation where I would have this guy in this city, and this is before the forum in this city, and I'd crank this forum 3 out in something like 3 turns, and yes, personally, I consider that absolutely worth it. Because then I look at the total cost of the whole thing. Did I spend 3 plus 3 plus, call it 2, did I spend 8 turns on 4 civics total, right? I spent 8 turns on 4 civics, and it was only 60 civics cost, plus whatever stone. I don't really give a shit about the stone because ideally my stone is super, super high anyway. I think people are crazy about their obsession with stone. It makes sense. It's the lifeblood of a nation, but also, I mean, I'm not going to not spend my stone on a project because I could be spending it on something else, because ideally, I just make enough stone that I can do both. But of course, as with any situation, it's situational. But I am very pro-project, basically, is all I'm saying about with that rant. Is if you ever ask me anything about projects, I'm pretty much a fan of all of them. The hardest one to rationalize, I suppose, is the treasury, but even that can be useful. Especially once you get the manor technology, or in Babylon's case, if you're Babylon. Treasury on Babylon can be pretty useful. But archive, I'm a big fan of archives. Archives are very, very good at hitting a particular tempo towards a tech that you're trying to get, because just a couple of them can be exactly what you need to shave off 1 turn on a tech, and I like to do anything that I can to speed up every aspect of my game by at least 1 turn. All right, so Blaj is on a break now. We have a wounded Carthage licking their wounds, going back, setting up his order network, his road network. That's something we're going to love to see out of Blaj. He really needs to establish a road network pronto, like as fast as possible. Is he gold rushing this? Nice. He's gold rushing some officers in his hunter seat. He also needs to start building rangers. Yes, he's building some rangers. Fantastic. Does Carthage have archery? No, he doesn't. He does not have composite bow. That's really good. That's a good advantage for the Babylonians. And we have this open field territory here. Another thing I'd like to see is chopping maybe all of these woods back up here. We're getting a garrison. Nice. We're getting a garrison here, so then we'll be able to get a stronghold, forgive me. Yeah, if we can find a way. Sometimes I like to be cheeky. You just send out a worker with a force march, chop as much as you can, and just pop it right back. Really deny your opponent ability to cover themselves. Yeah, treasury. There is a treasury in the capital. We did put a treasury in here pretty early on, I believe. No, we didn't. I thought we did. Oh, maybe I called it out and then they didn't. But this is a great example, actually. This is a really great example. Because we're talking build queues, right? So our civics output. Yeah, we only have 15 civics in Carthago, right? Compared to 20 in Babylon, right? And so this is a good example. I'm actually going to use this as a decent example. So this master poet is looking like a fresh poet, not an upgrade. Right? Yeah, all right. So it's a fresh poet and not an upgrade. What's an example? What's the other one? All right, so, okay. Here's a good example. This Master Poet is an upgrade. This Master Poet would take 5 turns to make. It would give us 1.8 civics, 1 culture, and 0.7 science. So this is obviously going to be better than what we're going to get from a forum 2, right? However, in 3 turns, I can get 1.2 civics. So if all I'm really concerned about is civics, I can actually save myself 2 turns worth of build kind, do a quick forum 3, get refunded all but 20 of the actual costs into my global pool. I've still increased my civics in the city. And yeah, sure, I didn't get culture science. I'm not saying that the Master Poet isn't obviously better than the forum, but I'm talking about specialization here. I'm talking about being fixated on a goal. If I'm literally just, I really want an extra civic now, well, the Master Poet is more, but I can get this extra civic now and then move on to something else, right? Maybe it's going back to the Master Poet, and maybe now the Master Poet's 4 turns instead of 5. All right, that's fine. Yeah, and then the other thing about that too that's often overlooked is every specialist and specialist rank that you make increases the price of all other specialists by 5%, right? The civic cost, right? So this is getting me 1.2 civics without raising the cost of the things that cost civics that I actually care about, which are the specialists, right? So maybe I don't want a Master Poet or an Elder Poet in my city, but I still want this extra civics. So I can get this extra civics in thinking later down the line, okay, now I'm going to have more civics for my doctor or my philosopher without having to waste generating this amount of civics while also increasing the costs of my philosopher or my doctor or whatever else I'm thinking about. So that's another reason why I really value the forum, is because you are able to increase your civic output without increasing the cost of specialists. I think it's really efficient. Not necessarily that it's really efficient. I think they work very well. I think they're just difficult to conceptualize. I think they're difficult to wrap your head around. And I think that's true of all the projects. I think all the projects are pretty decent, but they're nuanced and niche. You have to have a very focused reason behind why you're building them. All right, so we have monasticism in 3 turns from the Carthaginians, but that's not going to result in a legendary city. We're building nice. So this is, some people say they don't want their holy city in their military city, but boy, is this ever a great reason to have your holy city in your military city, because we're going to get a monastery here shortly. Do we have any theologies yet? We have mythology, so we'll get a nice boost there, and then this 20% culture boost and the religion and everything. Yeah, it's going to get us to strong quicker and quicker, which is nice. So I actually don't hate the military city being the holy seat. I actually think it helps you get that culture 7-law unique unit timing quicker, and then you just build the disciple and send it to a growth hub and have them do the heavy lifting for you. And of course, then the 2 extra civics also helps it makes it easier to build officers when you want to build officers. So yeah, I don't hate it. Nice. We're posturing strongly. What's interesting here, I mean, I guess we couldn't fully block them, could we? I'd be curious to see if Blaj attempts to take the city. I don't think I want him to try and take the city. I think he should take his time and really build up. I actually would love to see him maybe try to even take his time and expand down here if he can. Else he should just invest the resources in trying to piece these guys out so they stop raiding him. If you're not going to expand, this is one thing I've seen time and time again in these duels. People who leave a tribal front, typically across a coastline, which is even more annoying, open, and fine, that's fine if you can't get to it. Like, very reasonable the fact that Blaj hasn't had the opportunity to come down and clear this. I'm not knocking that, but what we end up seeing is, 50 turns later, we're back on another fight, we're back in another conflict, and we're still at war with these guys when, okay, if you're not going to clear it, well, then just piece them out, and that way you can prevent the raids from happening ever again. Okay, yes. Someone's asking, should we swap to colonies and buy out this territory? Yes. 100%. 100% we should do that. The problem for Babylon is that they don't have a great income source at the moment. They're in the negative. They're in the negative again. So their economy, their gold economy has been really shitty for most of this game. Their resource economy is more or less okay. But yeah, oh my god, he's actually going into attack. I hate this, but we'll get a kill at least. I mean, maybe it's a good... Oh my god, Alcaras is actually weaker. Never mind. Let's go, Blaj. We're on the offensive now. More culture for Dur Athara, by the way. This is going to eventually create 8 strength units. Alcaras will be able to reinforce. We want to make sure that we can protect flanks. This is, a tricky puzzle. You want to put 2 units right here. Okay, 1 out there, 2. Okay, fine. Whoa, that's a good size amount of damage. Can we kill something off that? No. We have another archer coming out next turn. We have another archer coming out in 5, and this one still has strict. How are both of these rulers alive? We have Queen Itani the Magnificent versus Queen Alcara the Great. How close are we to being the Great? We are 4,000 points away from being the Great. It's entirely possible that we could have 2 starting rulers reach the Great at the start of the game. 60 turns, 65 turns worth of conflict, facing off against each other. 2 schemers. I don't necessarily know how much Blaj gains by taking this city. Because it's not going to give him a route into Carthage. But it could force Alcaras into making some crappy decisions. I really think, while there's potential here, I don't know. It's hard to say. It's the hardest thing to know is when to attack and when not to attack. Hands down. You perpetually feel like you're in this constant state of attacking too early or too late. Simultaneously, you somehow manage to be in both positions at the same time all the time. Or at least anytime a combat goes wrong, right? You're like, oh crap, I attacked too late. But then the next fight, the next game you play, you lose because of a bad attack, and you're like, oh no, I attacked too early. And so it's always one or the other. It's such a tentative balance. My goodness. My goodness. Well, we are now on the offensive. We have blocked everything. That's the thing. You need to block this tile as well. It can be very easy to overlook this. You know, think, okay, I've blocked his territory. Very easy to... So always make sure you grab your opponent's unit and look at their mobility when you're planning things like this, because we have left a tile open for a complete full flank if Alcaras is feeling it. I'm not sure he would be feeling it, but it is entirely possible. Alcaras can't get here with the mace. The maceman can get here. Yeah, that's what you want to block. You want to block that mace from being able to do some damage to you. Also, we're about to get Heckler on that mace. I think that's the correct call. No, we are in full retreat. Not only did Alcaras fail to take a city, it looks like it's entirely possible we would need to occupy this tile. It's entirely possible we're going to lose a city this session as Carthage. My goodness, what a roller coaster. I'm so happy that I got to stream this match. I'm so happy that you guys are with me live. 20 of you in the chat live here. Thanks for being here on this lovely Sunday. And if you're watching after the fact on YouTube, I hope you've made it this far in this game. And I hope you've been enjoying all the tournament content. I mean, this is why we're here, right? This is the game we all love. It's been an absolute blast. We've been doing this type of tournament stuff for months at this stage. We have another game live, 2 other games live today, I believe. And we've had a tremendous amount of support and feedback from Mohawk themselves. We have Soren Johnson, lead designer of the game, in the chat, checking out this game with us live at the moment. We have Fluffy Bunny and No Legs Kitten, who work for Mohawk Games, live streaming games. We have support from them having the entire playlist up on their main channel. And I'm thinking that we're probably going to put the finals of the tournament on the main Mohawk channel too as well. I'm not sure who will be co-casting or casting that game, but yeah, no, we'll definitely. I think we're going to try and make sure that whoever is playing in the final and whatever time it happens to be on, that we're going to stream it on the official Mohawk channel. So they've been nothing but supportive of this community endeavor. It's just been great. Great to have everybody on board. I love the collective experience of watching these games together and talking about them. And speaking of talking, if you're watching this on YouTube and you're not on Discord, please come join the Discord. I'll try to post a link to it on my YouTube, but you can always find a link to the Discord in the game itself. If you load up the main menu on the bottom left-hand side of the main menu, down by like the version number of the game or whatever, you'll see a list of links to all the different social media stuff for Mohawk Games, including the Old World Discord. And feel free to hop on and join the conversation there. We're always love to have you, and you know, you can learn more about the game that we all love to play. You can talk more. We have a real big political situation taking a bad turn in Carthage. So that's another thing that's not great. Look at where we're at in terms of military production again. I really want to keep eyes on this stat. Well, first of all, Blaj has killed 62 military units to Alcaras' 40. This number does include tribal units, right? So it's their overall clearing. But keep in mind, Carthage has cleared more camps, but Blaj has killed more units. That's funny. Where are we? We're military units produced. We have 29 military units in Babylon to 13 for Carthage, right? In terms of total produced in the game. And let's not forget that Carthage's mercenary count was only about 9. So that's 21 units on Carthage side, total to 29. This is plus or minus any free units that might have came from events. This Maceman that's hanging around somewhere. Where is the Maceman? Where the hell did the Maceman go? I have no idea where the Maceman disappeared to. Well, anyway, it came from a free Merc event, so that's always nice. And this city, Utica, will be going down. The Battle of Durathara has transformed to the conquest of Tylos Island. Can we get our units? We want to block these spaces if we can. Really don't want to get ourselves set up for a flank here. I hope Blaj doesn't miss this tile again. Because he can still do this same damage with this archer. Just move him down one tile, and you'll do everything you need to do, and then you can't get flanked. He's not going to be able to take the city. Hey, he moved down, though. That's great. Now, you have another fun opportunity here. I actually don't think Blaj should take this city. And why would I say that? Well, if it's not going to win him the game, there's a fun thing you can do where you can just keep poking the city. This would be 1, 2, 3. Well, you swap places. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You could probably get 10, right? If you bring up another archer, right? You could get this city to take something like... Actually, I don't remember if you can still hit a city if it has no... unit, if it has no health yet. So I might have to be corrected on that. But anyway, long story short, the idea is that it would just bleed discontent for the rest of the game while serving virtually no purpose for Alcaras' empire, which would help keep the Dodonian opinion down. It's a little bit convoluted, admittedly, but it's troll as all hell when you're on the receiving end of it, and you can't do anything about it, because I've had that happen to me plenty of times. Wow, what an amazing turn of events in the second half here. Still Babylon's turn. Let's take a peek back over there, see what we have. 9 orders left. 100 science per turn. That's a wonderful threshold to hit. Pretty solid time to reach it, too. Turn 58, not too bad at all. That's really not too bad at all. Where we at? Yeah, we're going higher while our opponent's dropping. Alcaras is at 69 turn. And let's keep in mind that we both still have massive schemers on the throne. So we will both take science dips at the end of this. I mean, once either of these guys die. The Babylonian one, Iltani the Magnificent, is severely ill, which is unfortunate because I would love to see her get to the Great before she dies, matching her opponent. I think she's well deserving of the title at this stage, mounting the defense that she has mounted. And if we look at Alcaras, still kicking. Can we do anything fun with our heirs in Babylon? We have a nice, healthy family. We have a 26th heir. 26-year-old heir. That's not too bad, actually. Another schemer on the throne. Don't hate that. So we actually won't take too much of a science hit. Alcaras will be headed to a judge on his heir still, I believe. Nope, we've moved to a zealot. Always dangerous. Zealot is arguably one of the more powerful generals in the game, I think. The ability to get extra movement, extra fatigue all over your empire is just such a massively powerful boost. And that's without, and you can rush everything. That's the other thing. So the extra movement, extra unit production, and you can swipe a unit from your opponent's military formation with enlist. Our players said they'd only be playing about 2 hours today, and I believe this stream has been going for just over 2 hours, 2 hours, 20 minutes. I suspect Blaj, he's the one who said that he had to cut the session short today. I would not be surprised if Blaj takes the city and then says, okay, all right, well, good game, time to go. We'll catch up next time. Really drive home the punishment there. We're getting forum, we're getting Alcaraz. All right, nice. We're getting our science up, which is nice. And get another acolyte. I feel like I would say, oh no, we have the citizens. All right, so we're getting an acolyte here. Then we'll get more officers going up to a master poet. So we're in full econ development mode in Babylon, which is what we want to see to keep this advantage pressed forward. We do have a strong military advantage presence here. What I want to make sure, though, I hope that he doesn't get too comfortable, because on Carthage's front, we're seeing lots of military units produced. He's having a rebel problem. This is great. This is great news for Blaj. See the marauding rebel down here. Rebel down here. Another one response. So we have to deal with that with axes. Another one up top. This is great. Yeah. Sucks to be Carthage, man. What a turn of events. What a turn of events. A strong opening showing from Alcaraz, and now he's hitting in a little bit of a mid-game slump here. He still has a fantastic economy. Can't complain about 175 stone per turn at all. But our Babylonian friend, even without this southern quarry, right? So much of Alcaraz's stone is coming from this southern quarry peninsula, right? And even without this, Babylon's looking at 115 stone per turn, courtesy of our lovely flatland quarry bed. I'm going to point that out every chance I get because I love that type of play. All right, we're back at Carthage. Let's see if Carthage is feeling cheeky. How can you get over? Oh, the top one's open now. Shit. All right, so that's the other thing you have to block this tile and you have to block this tile. Always a puzzle. It could be interesting to see if Alcaraz just says, screw you, and comes and kills some slingers, but I feel like that would definitively be a bad idea when your opponent is both stronger and learned. Blaj showing his resilience here. Showing his level-headedness, his ability to keep cool under pressure. Sticking it to the mighty Carthage. God, I love this game. If you love this game, and you're watching on YouTube after the fact, let us know, because it's just such a fun time. There are, I mean, this is what I do with my time. I'm barely even playing anymore because I spend, yeah, because I spend all my time, not all my time watching, but yeah. We have a question from chat saying, wonder if Alcaras is focusing on trying to take Dur Athara without being able to take it instead of killing units defending it was one of the reasons he lost. Yeah, sure, totally possible. I definitely think trying to take a city with units that are around is tricky. However, I think at the point that Alcaras was attempting to do that, it seemed like a relatively sound decision for, and the reason why I think is two reasons. The first was because he almost took it. It was arguably a mismatch in timing and the worker shenanigans that prevented him, so that was clear. He just kind of forgot about it. All right, and Utica falls. I would really love to see Blaj say yoink right now. And the reason why I say that, if you didn't catch the first half of this game, Blaj actually cleared this site. This site was empty. He did not. He had a settler 1 or 2 turns away coming out of Dur Athara to settle the site. And Alcaras came up here with a bunch of horses, killed a couple of units, and settled the site immediately. And goaded his opponent with a little bit of a yoink in the general chat. So it would be very satisfying to have our dear friend Blaj shoot back with a little bit of a yoink of his own. In one turn, we will have citizenship. We have not quite yet have the civics to adopt our 7th law. But when we do, we will then be however many turns away from getting a stronghold. Oh man, check out this timing. 2 turns on to strong, 1 turn on your 7th law, and we're approximately 2, maybe 3 turns. Well, 2 turns if we just run councils in certain locations for our 7th law. So we are hitting all 3 thresholds within about 3 turns of each other, and man, that's going to hit around turn 60. That is solid timing. That is solid, making sure everything kind of comes in line, comes together. Dur Athara is halfway to developing, doesn't have any strong culture sources, so maybe we get some Odeons or something in here. Get this cooked up real quick. Sorry, brain fart. Finally dealing with this jerk. Finally getting our raids. Oh, and look, we're making progress. The world of Babylon has turned around. Not only have we defended a city from an aggressive attack, taken a city that was stolen from us early in the game, we are now aggressing against the heathen vandal barbarians that have been raiding us simultaneously while we were under attack. Blaj has shrugged off all threats and got himself back into this game and is ready to take control of his situation. Solid, solid, solid. Now, one thing I will say about this location is that still going to create a yucky trick where owners in the situation, like on this tile, can still hit here, and it will be in the forest, so that could create a bit of a headache. So again, I'm not really sure the strategic value of Utica, but it's definitely nice to take it off of your opponent's hands. So certainly not bad to take it. Wow, and it looks like we're trying. I don't think we have enough units down here. Oh, is this your raid patrol? Okay, I dig it. Your raid patrol, your raiders get standing in marshes, and that makes them easier to kill. I dig it. Okay, cool. Cool, cool. This is fantastic. Politics in Babylon is still stable. Really happy situation with this guy. And he's a schemer, 50 years old, so our heir will still be a schemer. That's nice. And we have polytheism. And a shrine is nearly in a good amount of our cities. Let's take a look here. We have paganism in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 cities. 5 of our 9 or 10 cities. So, you know, with citizenship, we could actually opt to do divine rule, and that's going to help our order economy. That'll be nice. That'll be really nice. Wow, what a game. What a game. That's so funny. Okay. Let's take a look. Ooh, we have the Magus event. That's nice. 220 civics for this. And Magus, which is a clergy member. Of course, you know, because Carthage needs more civics, right? 10 wisdom, 10 discipline. That is insane. And how we doing? She's still... Oh, and our... No! Iltani the Magnificent is doomed after all of her hard work. She better get this archer out. God damn it! Didn't get to impart her strict on an archer directly, but that's okay. Though Iltani is doomed, will be the first of the 2 great queens of this conflict to succumb to illness, while Alcara the Great continues well past the age of 70. Let's not forget, Alcara is actually 2 years younger than Iltani. Alcaras started with a 16-year-old ruler instead of an 18-year-old ruler. We have units running around doing rebel patrol. It looks like we had another rebel pop up in Thapsis. Still have that axe down here. Another slinger. Yep, we're having rebel crisis. Oh, and a spear popping up. That's where our maceman went. Our maceman went back to the front line. We had our... Oh, Christ. We had our fair of all things get pillaged. No! Crisis in Carthage! Crisis in Carthage! We're going to have to get that opinion up. We need to convert. Are we converting? We're doing intercessions. Interesting. Oh, because we converted already. All right. So we're doing an intercession. We need to convert these guys to Zoroastrianism. Once we do that, we'll have a massive influx of opinion to the Hananids, and that will solve our rebellion crisis. That will solve our political crisis for both of these families. And Alcaris will have... We'll be making quick work progress towards that. Metaphysics would help, but we don't have that at the moment. So nice. This will keep him occupied though while the Babylonians sort their situation out. I mean, it's pretty much sorted, I suppose. We have another raid coming up online in Babylon, which is good news. This guy's gonna have to deck out and heal up for a second. You really don't want to lose an Acadian of all things to barbarians. That would be embarrassing. Ooh, we can get a free ship. I think machinery is the play here. Although a free ship would be lovely. Maybe free ship into Spoked Wheel. Get ourselves some routers. We should know. We should be able to infer that we're not really up against much of a clock in terms of 8 strength unit potential, but we are going for machinery. Yep, I don't hate that. That is a sound choice. I think the boat would be nice, but it's not essential at all. Crazy, man. Let's look at unit count. We are looking at 17 units in the Babylonian army total to 14, looks like. 14 units in the Carthaginian army total. They are back to being similar in power. So, but this, just to be clear, again, to emphasize how you need to be really in tune with the way the metrics work. If you are weaker and you pop back up into similar, there is still quite the gap between you and your opponent. And this can be deceptive sometimes. So similar is not always, well, to be more specific, similar is not the same. All right, so we're getting machinery. Really, really great grab. Really great grab. We can get another officer, which we'd like to do. Again, our economy is more or less fine. We're going to have to resolve the wood situation eventually. Personally, I would use this as my lumber field, as well as this. Look at all of these beautiful rivers, right? So we have woodland lumber mill here, woodland lumber mill here, which leaves this. I would full chop the shit out of this. I would burn every single one of these tiles down in the next couple of turns, keeping myself afloat without continuing to spike the price of wood. In fact, if anything, that helps bring the cost of wood down. All right, so now this tile situation is going to create a nice defensive border for Alcaras. It's going to be harder to attack into this, and there isn't really much good space for onager fire. There's a hill here, so maybe we can set onagers up here and deal with Carthago Nova, and then kind of come through the woods up here, I suppose. But really, for Babylon, we're going to take advantage of the fact that all of the main battlefields at the moment are largely open. I would also probably chop all of this down. Although, again, this could be staging area to assault Carthago later. It depends, really. That's always the risk of chopping stuff down, right? It's like you want to chop this down for defensive reasons, but then now you're on the offense and you realize, well, shit, I don't have any woods to hide in. That sucks. You could always keep them chopped and not clear cut them. That way, as they grow back, you can then later decide if you want to chop them again or if you're going to be using them yourself soon. So that's a little convoluted. We do have a forest fire. A good omen this time, I suppose. Builder, Sage, Governor, Note. We really want to collapse these borders. Legal Code and Divine Rule are up and running. We're one turn away from that. We're one turn away from Strong. Nice. That's amazing. And yeah, so we're one turn away from our 7 Law, our Strong Culture. And then you're going to have the Carthaginians. Dude, I wonder if it would be even bold. I mean, it would be bold, but I wonder if it would be worthwhile to, like, put a couple of workers in these woods, hang out a turn, you know, reset their fatigue. Worst case scenario, if someone tries to come in and kill them, well, maybe you get some kills out in this open field, but then take 3 workers. I wonder if it would be worthwhile to run over to these woods and cut as many down as you can. Because between machinery and the 8th strength unique unit, a good number of our damage is going to come from ranged units. So maybe creating as much of an aggressive open battlefield could be worth it. You definitely lose the workers, but so that might not be worth it. We have 7 turns away from machinery, and Alcaras is going to be saving here. Our players will be closing the session here. And what a session it was. 7 turns away from machinery for Alcaras. And if we look over to the Babylonians, 4 turns away from machinery. So both players will have onagers, but they will have it in roughly the same time frame. One thing I want to look for Alcaras is how are we doing on wood over here? Much better on wood in the Carthage side of the map. Still no forestry, but he also doesn't have polis, whereas Babylon does have polis. So Babylon is closer to forestry as well, and Babylon has composite bow, which Alcaras doesn't have. So there are some clear advantages for the Babylonian side of this game. Blaj is not out of this yet. I will be super excited to see what happens next. Going to just do a real quick stat of the main things that we care about. Stat check. Science, 100 per turn to 62 per turn. Net advantage here for Babylon. Consistent long-term Babylonian advantage throughout the game. And now we're looking at an extra 300 to 600 science in the tree total. Military score is leaning Babylon now as well. They've had, sorry, over here is Babylon as well. They had a strong Carthaginian advantage, assaulted Durathara with tribes, and then just plummeted, got put back in their place. Blaj was able to hold through. Orders is a net advantage here, plus or minus work returns for Carthage. Yeah. And we end with, wait a minute, what? Our ruler, oh yeah, so Ishtar Gamalet the New has taken the throne. So going into the next session, Iltani the Magnificent in Babylon will have been died. And yeah, we'll have a new leader on the throne to lead Babylon into the future, and we'll see what happens with Alcaras the Great. So thanks for joining us live. There's over 20 of you in the chat. That's amazing. So appreciate you hanging out here, giving us the views, chatting, giving the comment, thoughts and stats and things like that. If you're watching after the fact on YouTube, please give us a like, subscribe, and hop on Discord to join the conversation. Thanks again for watching on Siontific, and this has been the Old World Community Tournament. See you next time.